As some of you might know, a little over 2 years ago, I made a video about the 10 best American V8 cars you can get for under 10K, or should I say could get for under 10K. Let's just say since then, things haven't been too great for buyers and prices aren't the way they used to be. And because of that, I know some of you might be resorting to desperate tactics to get your hands on some V8s for that cheap.
You knock $1,500 off the price right now, and I will take it off your hands.
Can I think about it? 5, 4, 3, 2, now, say it. Do it now. Do it now. Do it. Shake my hand. You will sell me this car. Shake my hand.
Well, to update the car list, prices, and editing from the old one, because when I made it, I was only 3 months into YouTube, here are the 10 best American V8 cars you can buy right now at or under 10,000 bucks. Let's get into it. It should be known I only looked at cars that I could find for sale with a max of 100,000 miles, no accidents, and in good shape with no major issues. Some people don't care about higher miles, but I didn't want to give any BS recommendations here. Prices can vary depending on where you live, so I'll add in honorable mentions, and I made sure to check out the cars you guys mentioned in the comments last time. Also, if you haven't checked out the gaming channel, please do that because those are a lot of fun. Let me know if I forgot any good cars here. If you own any of these or you have any questions, dropping a large thumb is very appreciated, and enjoy. With all the blabbering out of the way, first up is the 2000 to 06 Lincoln LS with a 3.9 liter V8. Considering the price I saw of around 4,000 to 7,000 bucks, these make a decent 250 to 280 horsepower, and I think they look pretty cool. They definitely have a BMW vibe to them, but they've also got an American V8 under the hood, and they're not as expensive as European muscle. These got a refresh in 03, which did give them slightly more horsepower and make them a little bit quicker. Not much was done to the looks then, but I don't really think that's so much of a bad thing. I think they did a good job even when they started. They were also highly rated for safety, so that's cool, and I think they've got awesome modding potential with very minor stuff. Second is a classic for a lot of these lists, and it's the C4 Corvette. Like 5 years ago, I thought all of these would be at least 10K, but just before prices shot up, I even bought a half decent one for 2,900 and was able to flip it and sell it with not a lot of work for 4,700. And although they're priced higher now, I see a ton of these on Facebook Marketplace. Marketplace? Wow.
Marketplace.
Pretty damn clean for under 10,000 bucks. A lot of the decent ones were actually even more like 5,000.
Nice.
These were made between 84 and 96, and all of them have 5.7 liter V8s making between 205 and 300 horsepower depending on the year. I know those earlier ones go back a little far to be on the list, but one, when you want a cheap V8, you've got to make some sacrifices. It's just going to happen. And two, I made sure that the 3 cars here that were made at all in the 80s were also made into the 90s, so you've got some newer options too. For number 3, we've got a similar one to the C4s, and it's the 3rd gen Camaros and Firebirds. These were made between 82 and 92, and because of all those years, their power ratings range from a very sad 170 horsepower to a not so bad 245 for between 6 and 9,000 bucks. These had 5 liter V8s, but there was also an optional 5.7 liter from 87 to 92. They also have the matching Firebird versions of these to keep an eye out for, but I don't think I saw like any of them near me, never mind for under 10 grand in good condition. Not too easy to find. Next up though is the 06 and 07 Chevrolet Impala SS.
What's the S stand for?
On my world, it means stupid.
These are making 303 horsepower and 323 pound-feet of torque from a 5.3 liter V8. From what I saw, these are going for around 7 grand and up, and if you can't find any in the price range you're looking for, there's also the Monte Carlo SS, which is pretty much the same car just with 2 doors chopped off. The interesting thing about these is that they're actually front-wheel drive, and unfortunately some people have complained about transmission issues, but from what I saw when I looked it up, it seems like they last a decent amount of time still. Anyone who's owned one though will definitely have more to say, so I'm curious to see what you guys think. Now on to what's my favorite one here. We've got the 94 to 04 SN95 Mustang GTs. For anyone who doesn't know, the ones made after the 99 refresh were known as the New Edges, and to be brutally honest, I used to not really like the ones made before then. But after seeing more clean, well-done ones, I think they have a lot of potential and could be awesome cheap muscle cars. To get an SN95 GT in good condition, it'll probably cost around 5,000 to 6,000 or more, and believe it or not, I've even seen decent pre-New Edge Cobras for sale around 10K too. If you do find a New Edge GT, that's an awesome option, especially if you think you'd be happy with that long term. But if you're really considering an SN95, I definitely don't think it would be a bad idea to check out some pre-New Edges. Choosing a slightly older one, you could either spend less or spend the same amount and probably get something with lower miles or in better condition overall. You can also keep an eye out for the older Fox bodies, because I'm pretty sure those used to be under 10K, but at the moment it's hard to find them for that cheap without at least like 120,000 miles. A lot of the people making these lists also like to be like, an S197 Mustang GT for less than 10K, which may have been true for higher mileage ones at one point, but whenever I see people say it's easy to find those for that cheap, I'm like,
wow, the land of make-believe.
Next up is one for the more sophisticated dudes, and it's the Cadillac DTS with a 275 to 292 horsepower 4.6 liter Northstar V8. After other videos I've made, I've seen a decent amount of people talk bad about Northstars, so I'll say do your research on whatever car you look at and get other opinions, but I've also seen some owners talk very highly of them. I was seeing these for between like $4,000 and $8,000, and if you can't find one, then another option is the DeVille's, which also had the Northstar engine, but they were making slightly more power. The downside though is that they seem to cost a little bit more, generally sitting between like 7 and 10K, but still not a bad option at all in my opinion. For the 7th car, we've got another Camaro, but it's the 4th gen F bodies. These also had 5.7 liter V8s, but they were making between 275 and 310 horsepower depending on the year and trim. They got a refresh for the 98 model year, which adjusted the looks and replaced the LT1 V8 with a more powerful LS1, among other things. These also had a Firebird counterpart, but I've never seen a lot of those with V8s for sale for cheap. If you can find a good deal on one of those, then that's really awesome, but they'll probably always be harder to find for the same price, and even these Camaros barely made the list, costing between $9,000 and $10,000. For car number 8, we've got what I've noticed is a pretty requested addition, and I actually made it 2 cars. They are the Pontiac Bonneville GXP and the Grand Prix GXP. This gen Bonneville only had V8s for the 04 and 05 years, and the Grand Prix GXPs had V8s between 05 and 08. The Bonnevilles had Northstars and the Grand Prix had 5.3 liters, and they both make fairly similar amounts of power. From what I saw, they also both cost around 6 to 10 grand, and unfortunately I wasn't seeing too many of them on the market in my very broad area, but again, a lot of people have mentioned them in the past. Also, if you really like the Grand Prix and can't find a V8 one, there's a not uncommon supercharged V6 version if you'd rather have your car sound a little more like a meme. Second to last is another Caddy actually, and it's the 4th and 5th gen Cadillac Seville. And no, I didn't pronounce DeVille wrong, it's the Seville. Although these might not have the sleekness of the other cars here, and a lot of them have no level of sportiness, I've seen pictures of some clean ones, and I've got to say that there's definitely something about the looks that I like. And I'm not too positive what it is, because in reality it's kind of a bland car, I'll admit it. The backs are not that great, they're pretty bad looking, but I think the front and front quarter looks are really not bad. These are also one of the cheapest cars here, costing between just $3,000 and $6,000. They make between 200 and 300 horsepower, and they're even a little lighter than the typical 4,000 pound plus Caddy. And for the final best V8 under 10K, it's probably the one everyone was waiting for. It is the classic Crown Vic and the Mercury Grand Marquis and the Lincoln Town Car. And for a similar option to the Town Car, it's the 2000s Continentals. Anyway, all of these have the same V8s in them, they weigh around the same, have similar unfortunate 0 to 60 times, and cost between $4,000 and $7,000. I feel like there's not much to say about these that people don't know. The options are really just up to you and what ones you can find, and the only difference being that Crown Vics might have been driven hard by the police, and there might have been a few murderers in the back at some point. I also thought the old Mercury Marauders might fit here, but for some reason the only ones I saw were between like 13 and 16,000 bucks, and one was even 22. Other honorable mentions real quick that you could maybe be very lucky to find for under 10 grand in good shape are GTOs, C5 Corvettes, Charger RTs, S197 GTs. Yes, sometimes it happens, like I said. You'd have to be lucky. STSVs and 300Cs. Some older V8 Thunderbirds can look pretty cool too, but the newer ones were just a little too expensive to add. Again, please let me know which of these you guys like or don't like, what you think of them if you own one, if I missed any, or or if you've got any questions. I also want to hear good deals you guys have scored in the past, even if it was pre-price hike, because hopefully things are going to go back to pretty normal within like half a year. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great day.